Hi everyone, and I hope you're having a good day. I wanted to share something with you real quick, and I won't take too much of your time, but I wanted to talk to you about worry. Now, I am one that if you've heard me teach very much, then you've probably heard me talk about worry, and you've probably heard me tell you how I am a worrier and that is something that is one of my vices that I have to deal with very regularly. I have to hand it over to God, and very often I have to hand it over to Him a second and third and fourth and so on time because I pick it back up. I worry about things and then I hand them over to God and I say, God, you've got this, and I hand it over, and I truly do hand it over. And then the next day, or even later that day, or not long later, I'll start thinking about it again, and I'll worry about it again. Or I'll worry about it again. Now, that's kind of the flesh response to trials and things going on in our lives. It's kind of the flesh response to want to be in control of it, to want to handle it, to want to fix it. And so often I have to deal with that, and I have to realize that I can't control everything, I can't fix everything, and I certainly can't do it without God. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about worry. There was something that I was waiting on and anticipating, and I was anticipating it with a lot of worry and negative worry, and I was worried about messing up. I was worried about it just not being good enough. And it happened and it came, and you know what? I wanted it to be over so bad because I was tired of worrying about it. I was tired of stressing about it, and it's over now. And there's so many things that I look back on, and I did mess up parts of it. So there's so many things that I look back on, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could have done that different. And I kind of want to go back and fix it. And so I was thinking, as I was thinking about it the other day and thinking about how I wanted to fix certain things, I started thinking about how there's always something to worry about. We will always have something that is going to cause problems in our life, that'll cause worry or stress. And we really have to focus on handing it over to God. And that's not always easy. And I don't say that lightly because, like I said, I am a worrier and I don't handle worry or stress very well sometimes. Now, sometimes I can handle it and I can get through it and I am a rock. And then other times I am complete mush and I don't know how to handle it. So I don't say it lightly when I say we have to hand it over to God and we have to not worry, because you know what? If we spend our lives worrying, very often there is very little we can do about it. And God is always there. He's always got us. He's always helping us. And I was truly just thinking about how often we worry about something. And like I did, I worried about that specific thing. And then I wanted it over so I didn't have to worry about it. And then now it's over and I'm worried about it still because I know that I could have done something different, that I could have fixed some certain things about it. And that's just the way life goes. There's always going to be something that you can stress about. There's always going to be something that you can worry about. Now, granted, some days it's going to be a whole lot worse than others. Some days that worry is going to seem like it is an extreme mountain to climb, and you'll never get there. And you know what? You may not. You may not be able to fix whatever it is. It may not be fixable on this earth. And you know what? Some things, even though we may be able to fix it with God, God says, you know what? No, that's not my will. And we have to be able to accept that too. So today we've been dealing with some other things going on, and we've had some stress in our lives and in our family. And I was trying to think about what I could read today as a devotion. And I really wanted to read something that would help me and focus really on worry. But I didn't know where to turn in the Bible. I know some scriptures about worry. I know some scriptures about handing things over to God. And I could Google it and I could look it up, but I wanted to just be able to turn and God to just speak to me and tell me what He wanted me to hear. So I prayed about it with my Bible in my hand, and then I just kind of blindly opened my Bible. And I was almost in tears when I opened it, because when I opened it, it came to, and I'm going to try and show you, but it came to this page, and this is in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, and you can see that I have little notes over here. Now, those little notes are notes that I wrote back in 2018 in my Bible, and those notes go along with some of the scripture there in chapter 12, and it goes back, and I'm going to read. I'm going to try and decide where I want to read. Let me see. I want to read from chapter 12, verses 8. I'm going to start with verse 8. It says, "For this thing I besought the Lord thrice." So in verse 7, it's talking about how there was a thorn he's saying there's a thorn in his flesh, and the messenger of Satan to buffet him, lest I should be exalted above measure. That's in verse 7. So then in verse 8, he's kind of frustrated because there's a thorn in his flesh, and he's saying, "For this thing I besought the Lord thrice." So he's going to the Lord. He's talking to the Lord 3 times, thrice, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, and reproaches, and necessities, and persecutions, and distresses, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong. And that's whenever you go back to in the beginning of verse 9, where it says, And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Now, so often, our weaknesses is what we focus on. I focus on what I could have done different about that thing I was worried about. I focus on what I could do to make life better, how we can make more money, how we can do more things for our kids, how we can just make better memories, how we can handle situations and conflict wrong. There's always something that we can look at and we can say, what can I do to make that better? How can I be stronger in this situation? If you have health problems, how can you be stronger to get through it with the strength of God? How can you be stronger and have the strength to deal with constant migraines or constant body pains and body aches? How can you be stronger to deal with a marriage that's fallen apart? How can you be stronger to deal with wayward children or parents that are treating you like you are worthless? Now, I'm not saying those situations are in my life, but I am saying that I 100% believe that so often we focus on where is our strength? How can I get through this? How can I do this? How can I be strong enough? And so often, whenever we're going to God and we're saying, hey, I need you to fix this problem in my life, like he was saying, he was asking for help. He besought the Lord thrice. He went to him 3 times. And so often we go to the Lord and we go to him more times than 1, more times than 2, even more times than 3, and we're telling God, I need your help. And here it says, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. And you think, how can that be? How can strength be made perfect in weakness? Well, strength can be made perfect in weakness because it's not our strength. It's that he went to God, and God is saying that his strength is perfect in weakness, because whenever you go to God and you say, hey, you know what, I need you to handle this, and you truly hand it over, then the strength will come. It doesn't come of you. It doesn't come of the work situation going away. It doesn't come of the boss suddenly being nice now. It doesn't come by saying that you won't get fired. It doesn't come by saying that everything's going to work out perfect. It comes by saying God is your strength when you let him be. And so the notes that I had wrote in 2018, I'm going to read those because they very much applied to me today. And I think that maybe they can apply to a lot of people, and they're nothing grand. They are very simple. But it says, quit letting problems and trials defeat us. Rather take glory in knowing God's strength is upon you and upon us. So whenever we are facing problems, just like I was facing issues the other day, and I wanted that day to be over, and now I wish I could go back and fix the day that I messed up. There's so many things that I can look at, and I can focus on that, and I can let that problem defeat me. Or I can say, you know what, God, you put me here for a reason, and my strength is in you. And there's other situations that we're facing in our life and in our family right now, and very much I wish that I could fix things, but I can't. The only thing we can do is be the example of hope and the example of strength to others who are looking at us to see how we react. They're going to look at us and they're going to say, I wonder what they're going to do now. They say they're Christians. They say they trust in God. They say they believe in the Almighty. Let's see how they handle this. So whenever you're being looked at and somebody's looking at you and they're saying, I wonder how they're going to handle this situation. Maybe it's a relationship completely falling apart and everybody's saying, hey, I bet this will break them. Maybe it's job problems and they're saying, I bet this will break them. You know what? It doesn't matter, because if you hand it over to God, then when they look at you, they'll see God's strength, and they won't see it of you. It's God's strength. It doesn't mean that God's strength is suddenly our strength and we're all perfect. It means that God's strength will work through us and be an example to others about the power that God has. And He has the almighty power to help us and to hold us each and every day. So today that really helped me. It encouraged me. Worry is something that we will all face in our lives at some point. Some are a lot better at handling it than I am. And even though I've had people that tell me all the time, well, don't worry, don't worry. And I think, how could you possibly say that? My child is sick. How could you possibly say that? Someone I know is hurting. How could you possibly say that? I don't know how this is going to work out. And I wonder how in the world somebody could tell me not to worry about that. But you know, it is because they don't have the same vice as me. They may have something else that is their vice. They may just be better in touch with God and trusting God. But I know for me and many others, trust is a hard thing to do whenever it's something that is very dear to our hearts. Whether it is your child sick, or a relationship falling apart, or money problems, or job problems, whatever it may be, if you're struggling with trust and with worry, then just let this be a reminder that God is your strength. Even though He's allowing you to go through hard times, He's your strength. And you can be that witness and that example to show others that God can get you through. That you get through it, but you don't get through it because you're a strong person. You get through it because you let God be your strength. So I hope this is an encouragement. God bless you all. And I know that times are hard for everybody for different reasons right now. And COVID has hit everybody hard. And a lot of people have lost many loved ones. A lot of people are dealing with a whole lot more than I have, and our family has been blessed that we have not personally lost anyone to this. But I pray that you all can be encouraged by this to trust in God through whatever is happening in your life right now, whether it be trials due to the COVID stuff or the pandemic, whether it be trials due to family relationship problems or money problems or health crises, whatever it may be. I pray that this can be an encouragement to just trust God and let Him be the strength. God bless.